Hello, everyone, and welcome to Chip and Chase, the NRL Fan Podcast. My name is Steve, and this is Dave. Hey, Dave.
Hey, Steve. How are you, man?
Doing well, and yourself?
Oh, mate. Obviously, as you know, my team's in the GF, so feeling on cloud nine today, but the job's still half finished, so we'll see how they go, eh?
Yeah, I know. It's congratulations. You're into a premiership, first time since 2009 for the Parramatta Eels. Sadly, my team, the Rabbitohs, fell at the last hurdle, and so it's a Penrith Eels Grand Final for 2022. We'll get into all that. This is episode number 31 of the NRL Fan Podcast, Chip and Chase. In tonight's episode, we're going to be having a look at those two games, the quarterfinals, Panthers versus Rabbitohs, Eels versus Cowboys, before we preview the grand final for 2022. So let's start off with first some judiciary news. We saw from the Rabbitohs Panthers game that Kikau got on report, as did Charlie Staines and Tane Milne. Tane Milne copped a 6-week ban for his high shot, which will affect him in 2023. Obviously, the Rabbitohs have got no more games this year. Well, typical, Kikau got off with just a fine for his shoulder charge, and will be able to be cleared. Will be cleared to play for the grand final for Penrith.
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for the congratulations, and sorry for the loss on Saturday night. It's just sorry. I know how it feels. We've been there so many times and lost that game. So, surprise, surprise. Kikau and Thingo get off for the grand final. So,
It's for the fans, Dave.
No, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, Steve. I might as well say nothing at all because nothing will change. The judiciary there and, the way they play games year in, year out with just, basically make it up as they go. So, no comment there. Bit of a surprise that there was nothing given out to at least Kikau.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. So,
and from the Eels Cowboys game, Jason Taumalolo also was charged, and but they're not on. They're in the race for the grand final, obviously. But he'll miss, I think, some international matches. So
How many did he get?
It says he will start the opening World Cup match. So I think he got 1 game suspension.
1 game suspension. Yeah, fair enough. And as with Tane Milne, mate,
that was a shocker.
It was a Superman flying arm. I don't know what he was thinking. So he got sent off at the time. I suppose the occasion probably just got the better of him, but I still don't think it was intentional. I think it was just a frantic tackle and absolutely hit the wrong spot.
It did. So unfortunately for him, he is going to miss quite a few games next year. So Panthers were up at by 12 points at the time, so it didn't help. But nevertheless, and then on the injury side of things, Dylan Brown was rested for today's fitness training session at the Eels. But he reckons he'll be okay to play on Sunday. But Tom Opachik still remains in doubt. He missed the game on the weekend due to a hamstring strain. But a little bit of a concern there for those two players.
Fair enough. Look, it's been a long season, so I'm sure Dylan, nothing too major. Probably just wants to have a break or whatever. And Opachik, just chill out for a day to make sure it's 100% before he starts training on it. And Opachik, I think the reshuffle wasn't too bad last week with Simonson being in the centres and Waka staying on the wing there. But if Opachik was to come back in, I'd say it'd be a bonus because he kind of knows what they've been training.
He's a better defensive centre.
Yeah, for sure. And he knows what they've been planning for the last 3 to 4 months.
All right. Well, let's have a look at those games that were on the weekend, starting with the first game, which was your Eels up against the Cowboys. It was an exciting game, to and fro. Cowboys took an 8-point lead at one point in the game, but the Eels were able to come back and hold them out for a 24-20 victory up at Queensland Country Bank Stadium for a ground record of 25,372, mostly Cowboys fans.
Yeah, it was a massive game. The all the Cowboys fans got out there and really made it a great occasion for both teams. Um, with there was a bit of controversy. I think there
Yeah.
was.
Here it
Look,
is.
I'm a Paris supporter, and there's one of these passes which that is it. I mean, how the referee and both the touchy missed that. Um, I will never know, but I mean, you've seen it happen all year, Steve, and it's just unfortunate that it happened in such a big game for the Cowboys. But other than that bit of controversy, I thought it was a really tough game from both teams. They were right into each other. Cowboys never gave up there. Um, I think Cameron Smith could have said they could have easily put their heads down after that forward pass, but they didn't. They just kept fighting all the way to the end, which was sure to make it an absolute nail biter for all us para fans watching it everywhere, and just relieved to get that win in the end. I think there.
Yeah, well, it was even still drawn at half time, 12-all,
Yep.
and so it was anybody's game going into the second half. And then the Cowboys did take an 8-point lead, leading 20-12 at one point in that second half with a couple of tries. But yeah, it just and a couple of penalty goals as well. But nevertheless, the Eels came back with some great tries. Campbell Gillard getting a double, Mike Acevo getting an important one in the 64th minute, and Mitchell Moses was on with his boot, 4 out of 4, and that proved the difference. So it was a really exciting game watching it. You didn't know who was going to win. Like I said, it went right to the death. In the last minute, Cowboys were still on the attack, hoping
Yep.
to try to equalise and then maybe kick on, but it wasn't to be. I thought your best players were Regan Campbell-Gillard was definitely one of them,
Yep.
and I thought also Mitchell Moses had a good game as always, but Wonga Blake nearly cost you again.
Yeah, mate. He's just got to really work hard under that high ball this week at training, and just make sure he's really, really confident. Whatever Nathan Cleary throws at him, he's gonna at least give himself the best chance to catch it.
Yeah.
Back to the game for me. Regan Campbell-Gillard was outstanding. Sean Lane had a very, very big impact on that game, and whilst Moses was kind of on, he uncharacteristically kicked 2 balls out on the full.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Para definitely weren't at their best in this game, Steve. They actually lost all the stats except the scoreboard. I mean, everything was with the Cowboys in this game, and somehow at the end of the game we were in front on the scoreboard. So the thing I took out of that is they can only get better from that performance next week. This week in the grand final now.
Yeah, well, their completion rate was horrendous in the first half.
Yep.
I think it was 11 of 21 or something like that at one
Correct.
point, and that wasn't looking good. And Moses, 2 kicks out in the full. Their fifth tackle options left a lot to be desired, but that was the pressure that was being put on him by the Cowboys. And so as far as stats were concerned, Reed Marnie, 58 tackles, massive. Ruben Cotter for the Cowboys, 45. Run meters, Peter Hiku for the Cowboys, 191, while Clint Gutherson, ever ready bunny as always, around everywhere, competing on every play, 179 run meters.
He had a big game.
He had a really big game. I thought he was another one of the better players for the Eels. So, congratulations to the Eels getting to their first grand final since 2009. An exciting game, beating the Cowboys up there, travelling in the heat as well. That was another factor that they really had to deal with. They, composed themselves, held their nerve, and were able to get the victory.
For sure. Very happy to be there. Like I said, we still got one game to go, so I think it's Para's turn, God willing.
Fingers crossed. All right, then the other game, sadly, was the Rabbitohs losing to the Panthers 32-12. The final score really doesn't reflect how close this game was for the most part of the game. Rabbitohs took a commanding 12-0 lead in the first half. Panthers had 3 tries disallowed, and one of them was a little bit dubious, but for the most part, all correct decisions. 50,035 fans, I was amongst them, at Core Stadium on Saturday night. Was very happy leading 12-0. Then 12-6, I was like, Coruscant, typical, is a really good player.
Yep.
But the try that they scored just before halftime, which is like an intercept almost, I don't know why South were trying to spread the ball at that point. I would have been heading straight up the middle, aiming for a field goal to go 13-6 in at the break, because there was only like seconds left on the clock. And instead they tried to push it, and it ended up into the Panthers' hands, and away To'o ran for a try that got them to 12 ball at half time. While 12 ball is not a bad result, it kind of felt like we were behind. It was a demoralising 12 all because we've been so dominant. Now you just thought, typical, how stupid of letting them back into the game.
Yeah.
And then the second half, well, you could tell that the Panthers were the fresher of the two sides, having not just the week off, but the week prior to that also resting most of their players, where South just looked out on their feet in that second half and were, the worse for wear. And there was a lot of heavy contact and bruising defence, but sadly they weren't able to hold the Panthers out for much longer. And as the game went on, the Panthers just clicked into gear and just kept going and going.
Yeah, mate. My thoughts in the first half was obviously before those last two tries was, South are here and they're really on here and they might get them tonight. But as you said, just last 10 minutes or so in that first half, things just kind of came to bits a little bit, especially with that against the runner play try to To'o. I think that kind of took the wind out of you guys, because you really had given it 100% that whole first half.
Yeah.
And for them to go in level with you at half time, it definitely would have been nervous times in the sheds there for them, because it could have easily been 12-0 at half time if they had held them out a bit longer. But I don't know, mate. Panthers just came out and blistered them in the second half. Some of the defence from the Panthers boys. Moses Leota put a shot on your man, G.I. Latrell Mitchell, and I tell you what, I've never seen anyone impact Latrell like this. He's never been hit like that. So I think defence got him home in this game. Latrell did go missing a bit towards the back end of the game, where positionally he was definitely caught out a couple of times, as we've mentioned over the past few episodes. So
can't disagree. He was definitely. I mean, there's a massive difference. You look at Dylan Edwards compared to Latrell. They're different styles of fullback, but the meters he gains, the effort he makes, where he pops up on the field compared to Latrell. Okay, Latrell's more of an impact player, doing things that others can't at key moments of the game.
Yeah.
But there were just times when he was in the defensive line instead of following the ball, or not like for a grubber kick like this. Where were you? You should be across there. Trying to get to the grubber kicks, yet he just doesn't have that ability to be in position where he needs to be. And there's a send off for Tane Milne that we're watching, and sadly it just all fell apart in the second half of South. When you're 24-12 behind and then you lose a player, it makes it very difficult. Even though they did it against the Roosters, were able to dominate when the player's down.
Yeah,
Panthers and a different proposition.
You mentioned before how fresh the Panthers were resting players before they even had a week off. I mean, that's not an advantage a lot of teams have on their side, and teams like South and Parramatta had to do it the hard way. We had to bash up the last couple of weeks to get in this position. So, definitely the freshness took charge there for the Panthers, having a couple of weeks off.
It's definite benefit. So well done to the Panthers. They're a machine. They're going to be very difficult to beat. I'm hoping the Eels can do it for you. And I cannot stand how smug and cocky they are. So fingers crossed for the Eels fans and for the supporters and members that the Eels are able to do it this coming Sunday. I just want to make mention before we get on to talking about the upcoming game. There were a couple of international matches that took place, and the women's game. We can't forget the Parramatta Eels women's team, the NRLW team,
have made their first grand final.
They only won one game all season to get into the top four, just scraped into the top four thanks to the Roosters beating I think it was the Knights. No, it wasn't the Knights. It was one of the other teams anyway. They were trying to make the top four. Okay. And So they
I think it was
scraped into,
Broncos.
yeah, they scraped into the top 4, and then they beat the Roosters, who were undefeated all season, to get into the grand final, and that's a massive, massive achievement. So well done to the Parramatta Eels women's team. So it's going to be a double there, Eels teams for both the women and the men's on grand
Very
final
nice.
day. That's exciting. So well done to them. And there's also, as I mentioned, some international games. The Australian Prime Minister's 13 came up against the Papua New Guinea team, the Kumuls, last night, and as expected, it was all one way for
A massacre.
turn that off there. For the Australian side, winning 64-14. There was a period where the PNG team scored 3 tries back to back, one before the break and then 2 afterwards. But it was 38-4 at half time, so it really didn't do much. It just was a disappointing effort that they weren't able to put on a better performance. But nevertheless, well done to the Australian team, 64-14 in a great and exciting game. Of course, there's a lot of tries scored. That was up at Suncorp, so well done to the Aussies.
Yeah. Well done to the Australian boys. They absolutely put on a masterclass up there. They were just scoring at will in that first half, and as you said, 38 points down at one stage. The Kumuls scored a couple of tries, but I mean, there was never going to be a comeback coming on with so many points scored against you. So,
Exactly.
Well done to the Australian PM's 13, and bad luck to the PNG getting a bit of a touch up from them.
Yeah, most of those PNG players are from the Queensland Cup. Not a lot of them have any first-grade NRL experience. Where the Australian side was made up of, obviously NRL players. So definitely a one-sided affair.
Few debutants too.
Yeah.
Few debutants on the.
So for the NRLW Grand Final, that'll be played at 3:55 p.m. on Sunday at Accor Stadium. It'll be the Knights versus the Eels for that Grand Final. So Knights came second in the season. The Eels came fourth. So they will be competing for the NRLW trophy. And then at 7:30 p.m. on Sunday night, the grand final is the Panthers up against the Eels. This is
the Battle of the West.
Yeah, and this is the way it all fell to this point in the season. The Panthers and the Eels are 2 final teams left standing after the prelim games on Saturday. So now we have the case where the GF is the Panthers versus the Eels. As I said, 7:30 p.m. kickoff at Accor Stadium. Tickets selling fast. There's singles available as of this morning, even after ticketed members tried to get their shot, which was really impossible to try to get any kind of number of tickets available. The general public get a go at them Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. But if there are any left, I don't know. But it is literally selling like hotcakes, tickets going fast, people missing out left, right and centre. So do your best if you can, if you want to get there.
Bit of a circus there at Ticketek. I've heard today trying to get tickets to this game, which is very disappointing, mate. I mean, 36 years we've been waiting, for crying out loud. Now we're having problems getting tickets to our own grand final. But
especially if you're a ticketed member, like you've been
100%.
going to all your home games, you're supporting the club financially, and you give you a window of opportunity to get tickets.
One ticket.
And you can't even get more than one at a time. It's like they tell you you're allowed to get up to 8, but then you struggle to get 2. Or you can't even get 2.
Yeah. Look, I've put out an urgent SOS on Facebook too, to any Cowboys supporters or Rabbitohs supporters that want to offload some tickets, because like you said, mate, to get more than a couple of them, it's almost impossible at the moment.
Yeah. So, great grand final coming up on the weekend. Parramatta Eels looking to, put this hoodoo behind them. This, everyone kept talking about 86 since the last time they won a grand final. They lost in 2001, 2009. It's been a long time coming. Panthers are a machine trying to go back-to-back minor premiers. They won the Jersey Flegg, SG Ball, and then they're also in the grand final for the reserve grade. So They are a powerhouse and will be for years to come.
Yeah.
So it is amazing how well their junior base is going, and a lot of their first grade team is made up of Panthers juniors. So they're going to be a tough opposition for the Eels on Sunday. But if the Eels can put pressure on Cleary and, make sure that they're up in their faces, and I think for the Eels, the trick will be the offloads, because Panthers play and defend really well against structured attack.
Yep.
They know what's coming at them. The Eels do really well when they're playing that second phase stuff and offloading in tackles and putting teams on the back foot. And I think that's the key to beating the Panthers. So if the Eels with Paulo and RCG and especially Sean Lane on the edges and Papali'i can get some of those offloads away in tackles, it's going to go a long way to making sure that they are able to combat what is a formidable Panthers defensive outfit.
For sure. Look, don't forget, there's going to be no love lost with Reggie, and a few of those Panthers boys who had a few words to say about each other. And I guarantee you, Paulo and all the Reed Marnie and all the Para boys will have Reggie's back 100% in this game. So,
well, even the Panthers trainer was having a go at Jed Cartwright, who was an ex-Panthers player, and Cody Walker took issue with some of whatever he said said to him or towards him. So. The Panthers aren't the cleanest club when it comes to being a bit of sledging going on and having a go at ex-teammates. So and RCG obviously has some history there with the Panthers. There was a lot of talk there about him not making the State of Origin because of the Panthers players after that first game not wanting him there and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be very spicy.
Let it fuel the fire for him and the boys, hopefully. You know what I mean? It's going to be a very tough game, Steve. I'm very, very nervous. I'm not going to say too much about it. Just like you said, I think the team that can play fast and get on the front foot and just get quick play the balls are probably the team that's going to win this game. So, couldn't get better. Big brother versus little brother. They've been our little brother at the foot of the mountains. Foot of the mountains for years. It's the Battle of the West. It's going to be an absolute sellout. Parramatta, Sydney, New South Wales is going to be crowded with many, many rugby league supporters watching both teams. Probably, hopefully, most of them hoping for a Parramatta Eels win because, I think it's our turn next. That's all I've got to say. And
we can't finish this episode without having a look at this.
Mum and Dad watching it.
It's been long and it's been hard, but they're not discouraged because 2022.
That's one of your mates kissing your tattoo there on your arm from the Channel 9 report. So you've had another stint on the media.
It was just so surreal, Steve. We were absolutely going nuts there at the stadium after we had realised that we just made the grand final. So, fingers crossed, mate. Hopefully the gods are with us. The boys just don't make errors, drop the balls, and tackle hard, and they should be in good stead for this. And I did predict an Eels-Panthers grand final at the beginning of the year, so...
another tip come true.
Yeah, another tip come true, thank God.
All right, well, I'll be going for the Eels. Hoping you guys can get the victory. It's going to be a tough game, but an exciting one. As you said, the crowd's going to be bumper sellout crowd. So fingers crossed. Enjoy the grand final, Dave. I know I'll be out hoping for an Eels victory for you and for the family and for my wife. So let's see how they go.
Thanks, brother. Let's go, you mighty Eels. Thanks, everyone, for watching. We'll see you for one last episode, I believe, Steve.
Yep, that's right. We'll do grand final wrap on Monday. Hopefully, David's got a massive smile on his face when we come back for our next show. So we're looking forward to that.
Mate, we might not be able to do it to Thursday. I don't think I'll be home till Wednesday night. If we win it.
Or if you lose, you might be gone missing for a while. So I'll have to.
Exactly. I might even go missing.
See how we go.
Maybe we'll let Sonia fill in for that one or something.
All right, bro. Well, I'll catch you next week then.
Thank you,
Enjoy the grand final.
We'll see you next week. Go, Para.
All right. Take care. Bye.